get a #1 victory royale. Yeah, Fortnite, we bout to get down. 10 kills on the board right now. Just wiped out Tomato Town. My friend has gone down. I revived him, now we're heading southbound. Now we're in the Pleasant Park streets. Look at the map, go to the marked sheet. Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. You can take me Rusty Meyer, but not
I told you, if it's stuck in my head, it's gonna be stuck in your head, everybody. Oh my god, that song. What's up, everybody? Ooh. You understand? I am gonna subject you to the mental torture that I experienced. You understand? Okay? Is this what you're signing up for? What's up? What is up, everybody? I see Nathan in the chat as usual. Hey, Nathan. Geez Louise, how are you? Nate the Great, what's up? Akash, hello. You're a kid now. Thanks for the resub. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. And then Arya. What's up, Arya? How are you? Alrighty. Whew. Yeah, it's tough. That song is no joke. Get stuck in your head like none other. I wonder if I should please. Hey, Ahana. Hello, hello. What is up, Mouse Pillow? How are you? Okay. What's everyone up to today? We got a little office hours, but nothing coming up really too crazy right now as far as like pressing quizzes / tests. So. What is that, Nate? What is this? What is this link that you send me? Minecraft world record speedrun in under 14 minutes. When was this posted? February 22nd. This was 2 days ago. Uh-oh. I'll take a look. Oh yeah, thanks for the congrats, Ahana. I think it was Mr. Gann that really pulled us all through. I had a couple good answers in there, but I think it was Mr. Gann who really sealed the deal. He came in and just nailed it. So, yeah, he carried for sure, big time carry. Let's see, what do we got here? I'll take a look at a couple things. I'll watch the Minecraft world speedrun later. I'm going to watch this a little bit. Just a little overview of evolution by Kurzgesagt, which is a good YouTube channel for sort of good to the point, pretty accurate, pretty factual stuff. What's up, Appa? You have a question from the unit guide. How can humans reduce the impact of global climate change on biodiversity? How can humans reduce the impact of global climate change on biodiversity? Good question. So, when you think about, this is kind of a question that is connected to evolution, right? Wait, Appa, what class are you in? Okay, learner. So yeah, I mean, Ahana, that's probably right on. Yeah, by not doing things that cause climate change. Yeah. But for like a little bit more of a like detailed answer to that question to kind of flush that out, right? The reason why biodiversity is impacted is because organisms must evolve in order to adapt to changing conditions. So as the climate changes, their environment changes, right? Temperature changes, weather patterns start to change, all of these different things. And so in order for an organism to be able to be adapted to that new change, it has to evolve. And the organisms that have the best traits for the new environment need to be selected for and pass on their genes over time. That process of evolution takes a while. So what we need to do is we have to slow down the rate at which we are changing the climate. What does that mean? It kind of means what Ahana said, right? By essentially reducing our impact on climate. So it would mean, reducing our fossil fuel emissions like carbon dioxide. So that would mean trying to find sources of energy to produce things like electricity that are not fossil fuels, right? So more renewable energy sources like nuclear power, hydropower, wind, solar, all of these kinds of things. And kind of do away with things like coal, oil, and gas. That would bring down our carbon dioxide emissions, which would then mean that global warming will not happen as fast, and it will give species more time to adapt to the changing environment. The problem is, at this point in time, we really don't know. The scary thing about climate change is that there will come a day where there will come a moment in time. It is factually true that if this is not addressed, there will come a moment in time where climate change is out of human hands. Like, it is going to go forward, and it will happen regardless of what we do. There will be a day. Now, the question is, when is that moment? And we'll never know. It's not going to make headlines. You're not going to read an article, from New York Times saying, we just passed the tipping point of climate change. We won't know when that time is, but it will come. And so what we have to do is try and prevent that time from coming by reducing our impact on climate change. There will be a moment where there'll be enough carbon dioxide in the atmosphere or enough methane or enough of a greenhouse gas effect that a runaway climate change will occur. So, and then that is not good news for anybody, because at that point, then our only strategy is to figure out how do we adapt to the changing climate, rather than how do we stop the climate from changing or slow it down from changing. But right now, in our present moment, the goal is to slow climate change down in hopes that we don't reach a tipping point like that, and in hopes that we can slow it down enough to allow species to evolve and to adapt to maintain high biodiversity. Does that make sense? Anything you would like clarified?
Mechanisms of evolution. What is evolution? Evolution is the development of life on Earth.
So this is a really old Kuzgasok video, 2013. So this is about 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old. Their newer videos are a little more polished in terms of the art, the aesthetics of it, the animations. But there's the old ones are just as good in terms of like the accuracy. So I haven't actually watched this one, but I thought we would play it a little bit on stream here just to go over evolution, which is what the biology unit is about right now. And then, yeah.
This is a process that began billions of years ago and is still continuing to this day. Evolution tells us how it was possible for the enormous diversity of life to develop. It shows us how primitive protozoa could become the millions of different species that we see today. Evolution, then, is the answer to the question that we have all asked on seeing a Dachshund and a Great Dane together. How is it possible for ancestors to have descendants that look so very different to them? In answering this question, we want to focus on animals, excluding other forms of life such as fungi and plants. The first question to ask is therefore, how can one animal develop into a whole new species of animal? But just a quick question. What exactly is a species? A species is a community of animals that is capable of producing offspring with one another, with those offspring also being capable of reproducing in turn. To understand this answer better, we need to take a closer look at the following points. The uniqueness of living creatures, guaranteed through the excess production of offspring and heredity. And, as a second key point, selection. Let's begin with uniqueness.
So basically when they say uniqueness, they're talking about variation. So the way we describe it in class is variation. The way they're using the word uniqueness here, I think, not 100% sure, we'll see as the video goes on, but my guess is that it's equivalent to the way we use the term variation in class, meaning individuals within a species are unique, right, amongst each other. There is variation between them. Ahana, I like what you put there. The climate will become our selection pressure, and we would have to evolve or go to Mars or not survive. Move, evolve, or die. Yeah, and that's pretty much the predicament for pretty much any species. Either they, as the environment changes, either they move to an environment that they can survive in, or they evolve to be able to live in the current changing environment, or they go extinct. Those are your three options. It's just something that we've talked about in class. The worst case scenario kind of reminds me of the movie WALL-E. Yeah, I kind of forget the gist of WALL-E. Oh, my camera died. Hold on. That's weird. I might have to try and fix my camera. My audio's still working though, but yeah, my camera died. I don't know what happened to my camera. I'll try and get it working in a second. My camera's been acting funny today a little bit. I worry that something's going wrong with it, that it's on its last legs or something. I mean, it's getting a lot of use because I'm using it all day for teaching, and then I use it for streaming at night as well. So it's pretty much on, like, let me think, how many hours a day? Like, it could be on like 10 hours a day at least, right? So over the course of a week, it's running for like, let's just say 50 to 60 hours. At a certain point, it's gonna go out. See if that works. What does it say? Oh, battery exhausted. Huh. That's weird. I had this thing off for about 3 hours today. The battery should not be exhausted now. Maybe the battery's not charging anymore? Uh-oh. We may have to go no cam today. that's okay.
Every creature that exists is unique, and this is essential for evolution.
Every creature that exists is unique. That is not necessarily true, right? There are creatures that exist that are not unique because there are such things as clones of animals or different organisms. There are such things like some organisms just clone themselves when they reproduce. And then even in the case of sexually reproducing organisms, it's possible to have a exact replica when we talk about identical twins. Now, over time, if they live their life, of course, they'll change. But initially,
the members of a species may strongly resemble each other in appearance. However, they all have slightly different traits and characteristics. They may be a bit bigger, fatter, stronger, or bolder than their fellow animals. So what is the reason for these differences? Let's take a closer look at a creature. Every creature is made up of cells. These cells have a nucleus. The nucleus contains the chromosomes, and the chromosomes hold the DNA.
This is just a good review of our genetics unit. And remember, the connection between genetics and evolution are pretty tight. Like that connection is important to know. Akash, technically, would there almost always be minor mutations? Well, the minor mutations may come after the initial moment. So like you could imagine, so imagine you have, let's say, right, you have, let's say you have a sperm and egg, right? So they fuse together. But normally what that does is that creates one zygote. But let's say in the case of an identical twin, you get two, right? You get two zygotes. They should have the exact same DNA. This initial cell should have the exact same DNA, right? Right, so you got your DNA. That was terrible drawing of DNA, to be honest. These should be exactly the same. Now, as it divides into, 2 cells and then 4 cells, right? As they make their way into full developed organisms, it's possible for there to be a mutation at one of these junctures. But the problem is, if there's a mutation this early in the process of cell division, oftentimes that mutation could be fatal and could cause this to just become no longer a viable embryo. But you're right, it's possible for there to be slight mutations as these cells divide. But at the initial starting point, at like point 0, at like t equals 0, let's say, right, where these cells are created at the moment of conception, at the moment of fertilization, you get these 2 identical embryos with the same DNA. At that moment, you would say that they're identical. Now, the further away from t equals 0 you get, the more likely there are to be mutations that accumulate and other factors that can cause them to diverge and become more and more different from each other. So yeah, technically, after t equals 0, sure, you could have minor mutations. I do have a backup webcam. I can actually plug that one in too. Curious just how serious this battery drain issue is. It does say battery exhausted, huh? Yeah, I think this thing is just not going to work out for us today. For whatever reason, this thing should have been charging. All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to try and set up another camera. But for now, let's watch this. Keep watching this.
DNA consists of different genes, and it's these genes that are life's information carriers. They contain instructions and orders for the cells and determine the characteristics and traits that living creatures have. And it's precisely this DNA that is unique to every creature. It's slightly different from individual to individual, which is why each has slightly different characteristics. But how is the enormous range of DNA created? One key factor is the excess production of offspring. In nature, we can observe that creatures generally produce far more offspring than is necessary for the survival of their species, with many offspring dying an early death as a result. Often there are even more offspring than the environment in which they live is able to support. This is one factor in increasing diversity within a species. The more offspring that are produced, the more little differences occur. And this is what nature wants: as many little differences as possible.
Right? Yes. So exactly. So that was variation. This idea that every organisms have slight variations in their genetics, which give them a slightly different phenotype, which gives them variation, which you need, because then you have a variety of different organisms that are all slightly different. So they're going to be slightly more or less adapted to different environments, and they can there can be some sort of differential survival between them. Because if every organism was exactly the same, then of course there would be no single individual would be at a greater advantage than any other individual in any particular environment. Wait, Akash, Twitch has started blocking ads? Oh, blocking ad blockers? Is that a recent thing? It's never been the case for me. But then again, my ad blocker has never worked on Twitch ads. They always run for some reason.
The second major cause of the uniqueness of individuals occurs in heredity itself.
All right, so this is inheritance. This is the I of VIST. We just talked about V. Now here's the I, which is heredity or inheritance.
By the way, heredity means the passing on of DNA to offspring. Two very interesting factors come into play in this process: recombination and mutation. Recombination is the random mixing of the DNA of two creatures. When two creatures fall in love and mate, they recombine their genes twice. The first time they do this separately, when they generate the gametes, that is, sperm and egg cells.
Still won because Twitch
The
don't
gametes
want us
take
to get
half of the
free
genes
bits
and
from
shuffle
ads
them.
anymore.
The second recombination occurs when a male inseminates a female. The parents each provide 50% of their DNA, in other words, 50% of their unique traits and characteristics. These are then recombined or mixed, and the result is new offspring. These offspring have a random mix of the DNA, and therefore the traits and characteristics of their parents. This increases the diversity and differences within a species even further. But mutations are also important for evolution. Mutations are random changes in DNA. These can also be described as copying errors within the DNA, triggered by toxins or other chemical substances or by radiation. A mutation exists when a part of the DNA is altered. These changes are often negative and may result in illnesses such as cancer. However, they may also have neutral or positive effects, such as the blue eye color in humans, which is one such random mutation. In all cases, a mutation has to affect a gamete, that is, a sperm or egg cell, because only the DNA in the gametes is passed on to the offspring. This is also the reason why we protect our sexual organs during X-rays, whilst other parts of the body are not at risk. In summary then, in the heredity process, creatures pass on their characteristics to their offspring in the form of DNA. Recombination and mutation change the DNA so that each child looks different to its siblings and receives a random mix of the characteristics of its parents. There's a key word here: random. All of these processes are based on chance. Random recombination and mutations result in individuals with random mixes of traits and characteristics, which in turn mix these randomly and pass them on. But how can so much be down to chance when all living creatures are so perfectly adapted to their environment? For example, the stick insect, the hummingbird, and the frogfish. The answer is provided by the second key point, selection. Each individual is subjected to a process of natural selection. As we have learned, each individual is somewhat different to its fellows, and there is extensive variation within a species. Environmental influences have an effect on living creatures. These so-called selection factors include predators, parasites, animals of the same species, toxins, changes in habitat, or the climate. Selection is a process that each individual is subjected to. Every creature has a unique mix of traits and characteristics. This mix helps them to survive in their environment, or not, as the case may be. Anyone with
Okay, sorry, I'm back. I just was trying to find my other webcam. So, recombination is essentially crossing over, right? Yes, exactly. Yep. It said keep pausing the stream for around 15 seconds, saying it seems you are using a third-party source or ad blocker. Oh, interesting. I don't know about that. I've never gotten that error. Sanjay, is there an upcoming temp check sometime soon? Also, when is the evolution test, if there's been confirmed? The test is going to be either March or... Yeah, the test is on the March 8th or 9th. Yeah, my webcam battery died, so I'm switching to a new webcam. Give me 1 second. Hopefully this will work. You gotta have a backup. Yeah, sometimes life gives you lemons. And you, you know, you return them and ask for a webcam instead. Let's see, I gotta plug this in though. All right, let's see if we can get this webcam working. What's up, Hax Whale? Been a while, my guy. How are you? Let's see. I want to add a video capture source, video capture device. USB video device. Is this going to even work, though? Oh, it works. Wait a minute. It's kind of sketchy, though, huh? How do I figure this? It's kind of zoomed in. This is what we're gonna have to do today. We're gonna get, this is gonna be a little scuffed, but it is what it is. Okay. Okay, hopefully that works now. I know, I forgot about that. For some of you, you've never seen me except through that one webcam. So you're getting a new angle here. A little different angle. Makes sense to do that, maybe. No, it's not going to work. There we go. Okay. Hopefully that'll get us by for today. All right. Okay. All right. What did I miss here? Oh, I missed the selection part. So let's keep going.
An unsuitable mix will be selected from the environment. Those with the right mix survive and can pass on their enhanced traits and characteristics. This is why diversity is so important. This is why creatures make so much effort to produce offspring that are as different as possible. They increase the likelihood that at least one of their offspring passes nature's selection process. They maximize their chances of survival. A good example of this can be seen in a group of finches living on a remote island. They are some of the most famous animals in the world of science and are known as Darwin finches after their discoverer, Charles Darwin. And this is the story of those finches. A few hundred years ago, a small group of finches was blown onto the Galapagos Islands in the middle of the Pacific, probably by a big storm. The finches found themselves in an environment that was completely new to them, a real finch paradise, an abundance of food, and no predators. They reproduced rapidly and numerously. The islands were soon heaving with finches. This meant that food supplies became increasingly scarce. The finch paradise was threatened with famine, and finch friends became competitors. This is when selection intervened. Their individuality and small differences, in this case their slightly different beaks, meant that some of the birds were able to avoid competing with their fellow finches. The beaks of some of the finches were more suitable for digging for worms. Other finches were able to use their beaks better for cracking seeds. The finches consequently sought out ecological niches. In these niches, they were safe from excessive competition. They soon began to mate primarily with other finches that used the same niche. Over the course of many generations, these characteristics were enhanced, enabling the finches to exploit their niches successfully. The differences between the worm diggers and the seed crackers became so large that they were no longer able to mate with one another. Different species emerged as a result. Today there are 14 different species of finch living on the Galapagos Islands, all of which are descended from the same group of stranded finches. This is how new species are created by evolution, through the interaction of unique individuals, the excess production of offspring, recombination and mutation in heredity, and finally, through selection. Why is this so important?
I missed the hydration from you guys. So, geez Louise, I got 2 for you and 1 for you, Erebus. Cheers, my guys.
It tells us where the variety of life comes from and why living creatures are so perfectly adapted to their habitats. But it also affects us personally. Every person is the result of 3.5 billion years of evolution. And that includes you. Your ancestors fought and adapted in order to survive. This survival was an extremely uncertain thing. If we consider the fact that 99% of all the species that have ever lived are extinct, then you can consider yourself part of a success story. The dinosaurs have disappeared, but you are alive, watching this video. Because you're incredibly special, just like all the other creatures that exist today. Irreproducible and unique in the universe.
All right, just a little overview of evolution there. Not too bad. Are we going to be doing any more practice vists in class? Yes, we're going to do at least one more. Probably early next week, at the beginning of next week on Monday or Tuesday. We'll do a practice one. That'll help us get ready for the exam. Because there's going to be one on the exam for sure.
Daily Bit.
Marcus. What is up, man? How are you doing? It's not a new cam. It's actually my old cam. So it's like lower. It's definitely lower quality. The camera that I'm normally using is the battery died on it right now. So I'm kind of worried that the battery itself is starting to get like worn out to extent where it's just not holding a charge anymore, which is kind of annoying because it's an expensive camera. It's a Sony mirrorless. It's an A6000. There's no way that this camera is better quality, Nathan. There's absolutely zero way. It's closer. It's definitely frames me closer, but the other one is like a 1080p camera. Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. It gets by. It's just it'd be a little bit annoying that the camera that I was using before is not going to work. There's also a little bit of lag to this camera, in my opinion. Maybe not. I don't know. It feels weird to me. It looks weird. Maybe I'm just used to the other one. This is what I used during office hours last year, Akash. Yeah, this was my original camera. This is just like a Logitech, like your run-of-the-mill Logitech webcam, like $40 webcam. Nothing cheap. But then I realized there was a way to actually hook up my digital camera and use it as a webcam, which I did. But it's not. Yeah, exactly. It's an expensive camera, but that was a photography camera mostly. Right, so I had purchased it for filming videos that I was making for my YouTube channel. I had purchased it for photography, and then I realized I could hook it up and use it as a webcam by buying just like an adapter that plugs it into one of the HDMI slots in my video card. And it's much higher quality. It's a higher resolution. It's got good focus. You can zoom in and out. Ashi, do we just have row 4 of the kudos and then that's it for evolution? Pretty much. Let me see. Let me look back real quick. pull up a... So here's our kudos. So row 4 is about human evolution. So we have to do row 4. Yes, we have to do row 4. But we still haven't quite, well, yeah, I think we've gotten through everything except row 4. Yeah. Yep. So we're going to do human biological evolution tomorrow and Friday. And then 4B on Monday, and then 4C on Thursday, Friday of next week. So we have 3 more class periods between now and the exam, and we have 3 more topics. So it's going to work out just perfect. Hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to review, but we'll see. Mr. New philosophy video when? That's a good question. I'm probably thinking unless my camera quits on me. I have to think of like a new topic. I haven't been able to read anything recently that's inspired me. So usually I just make them like kind of off the cuff. Like once something inspires me, like I'm just like reading something or learn about something and I think it's interesting, then I'll just go, you know what, I'll make a little video on this, and I just go. But I don't have a good idea right now. Nothing's popped up for me that's pushing me in that direction. Ashi, the primate evolution video lecture. I would say don't worry about it too much. I'm not going to have you watch that one this year. It goes into a little bit too much detail than what we're going to cover this year. So just rely on what we go over in class, which will be related to these things here. The elephants and echo chambers one, yeah, it's a little bit long. It's kind of a long-winded one that I tried to probably do too much in. I tried to combine too many things into a full arched kind of concept idea of like why people are so like crazy right now. But I might have bit off a little more than I could chew, so it went a little long. All right, Ahana, enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you later. All right, let's see this world record.
Hello everybody, it's Illumina, and I'm here to commentate my newest record that I got of 1.16 Random C Glitchless. It is done in 1353. If you look at the end of the run, it shows up as 1350.
1353, wow, and the world record was 1407? Wait, that's like 14-second difference. That's crazy. And his personal best was 15. So he like shaved off almost 2 minutes from his personal best. That's crazy. He must have gotten really good RNG.
57. But a mod actually just retimed it for it to be 13:53, because in-game time is usually wrong, so that should be the final time unless the mod was wrong, but we'll see when it gets verified, I suppose. So yeah, this run was kind of, well, unexpected to say the very least, because it was actually the first run of the day, which is crazy. I actually performed this run on my second Twitch channel, specifically for, well, it's a brand new Twitch channel, and it's specifically used for no mic streams, for just, you know, focusing on the run, no commentary or anything. So yeah. To talk a little bit about the run, this is probably one of the best houses in Villages. This is hotel, I think what people call it. And then I get a 5th bed, which is really nice. I actually don't get any more beds. I'm pretty confident with 5, so.
Okay, so maybe someone who knows more about Minecraft speedrunning than me can help me as we go through this. So my guess is that the very first thing you have to do when you spawn in is find a village, right? So the first thing you're doing is running to find a village to get yourself a bunch of beds, correct? That's sort of like the first thing. And so the first piece of randomization comes in with how far away the village is, and 2, how easy it is to get a lot of beds. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Ashi, is deleterious recessive just that the recessive trait is really harmful to the organism who have both alleles? Yes. Yeah, that's all that means. So you could imagine a situation where a recessive allele gives you like some really bad disease or disorder that like knocks you out and like makes it so that you don't survive and reproduce very well. And if you get 2 of them, you are affected. But usually you need 2, right? Because it's recessive. So a heterozygous individual wouldn't be affected. Am I learning to speedrun, Haxwell? No. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't know, though. I'm going to watch this video, and if it looks interesting to me, maybe I'll give it a little bit of try. I just don't know if it's worth I don't know if it's something I'm interested in. Yep, exactly, Nate. Sickle cell anemia is an example. But the difference with sickle cell anemia is that when you are heterozygous, it actually protects you, gives you some resistance to malaria. So if you're resistant to malaria, that's a good thing. So there's kind of like a mix there. It's like you want 1 recessive allele, but not 2. So you want to be heterozygous because then you get the best of both worlds. Akash, beating it as fast as possible is annoying. Beating it kind of fast is fun. Yeah, that's the way most speedruns are, huh? It's like there's a certain point where it tips from fun to just grindy and annoying to try and shave off seconds. All right, so he found a village within a minute and got a bunch of beds. That's actually pretty good.
5 is pretty comfy for me. Usually, I usually go for 6. Like 6 is probably the best, but
6 beds.
It ended up working out. Also, we get 2 blacksmiths, and that chest was so nutty. We get the iron pickaxe. Iron pickaxes are really, really good in blacksmiths. They're actually kind of nutty. And then yeah, I get my tools here, and we get 9 obsidian, of course, so we can go to the nether immediately because the blacksmiths have lava in them, so we can use one of those to finish the portal. And this part of the run's pretty straightforward. So
the next move is to get your tools. So he's able to get a pickaxe and a sword from the blacksmith. Are those you just find those in the chests, or do you trade with the blacksmith in some way? But what mats do you use to trade for that? And the armor, I'm assuming you can get from chests as well. The obsidian he's getting from the lava. Let's see, Ashi, oh yeah, with the question I asked Monday in your example, is it always that the alleles are coding for another trait, but then coincidentally code for protection? Yes, exactly, Ashi. Yep. That's the exact truth there. You got it. Perfect. It's a coincidence that they confer a little bit of protection against something. It's a coincidence. Akash, you had a friend who you have tried a few speedruns to train your AI before we switched to full reinforcement learning. It's fun, but I wasn't trying to optimize every possible thing. Okay. Oh, blacksmiths, you find obsidian from the loot chests.
I just want to talk about that the run did not use F3 at all. And you may be wondering, why didn't you use F3? Isn't F3 very, very good? And while it is true, F3 is becoming increasingly more meta, and pretty much almost everyone uses F3, and everyone who has a good time uses F3. But it's just like the reason why I don't use it is honestly just because I have more fun not using it. I think the challenge is more fun, and it's just the way I enjoy playing the game. I don't really care if you use F3 or not. I don't think it really matters. Like, it's not a big of a deal, but it's just how I play the game. Also, I'm using a sword to kill the golem, which is I think quite a bit faster than using an axe. So maybe that's what got me sub 14. Although we can say that about literally anything in the run. But we'll just say that's what gave me it. Yeah, for sure. Right here is grabbing more blocks. But yeah, I mean, normally just how I play. I don't think F3 is obviously an advantage, but you can still, I proved it. You can still get record without F3, and I still think you can get even better times without F3. I think F3 is more of a consistency thing. Also, I get the lava here. I've actually wasted some time because I don't end up using the lava ever in this run. So there's some time lost there, but the only reason why I got it was just for safety, just in case I need to kill mobs easily.
All right, so it seems like once you've got the obsidian, you go immediately in, and he's got a shovel and an axe that are stone. He's got some blocks that I'm assuming he's going to use for bridging and stuff like that and getting to places. He's got some iron pickaxe, an iron sword, and some bread and a bucket of lava, which he says he didn't actually end up using, and he's got a crafting table.
And you can see there, I broke a little bit of a block. And you may be wondering, why am I doing that? And it's because the block breaking animation actually shows cardinal directions, so I know which way is which. And the reason why that's important is because by knowing the directions, I know where quadrants can be, like which quadrant I go to, and I at least have a rough idea. I don't know exactly as much as you do with F3, but I have the idea. If you don't know much about quadrants, basically
boats prevent fall damage. That's pretty smart.
Around 0, 0, there are 4 quadrants in which structures can spawn in. I tend to go positive, which is southeast, because that's usually the most high chance you get, I guess, for getting a structure. But I see a fortress this way, which is in the northwest quadrant, I want to say. So I just go to the fortress right away. I don't really see any reason not to. I didn't see a bastion anywhere else. And you can see I'm looking around, and I see a bastion over there, and that's in the northeast quadrant. So this is a bastion run, which is really good. My blaze rod rates were actually insane. Definitely would not have been world recorded for this. This is what really carried it to world record, I would say.
Wait, what's the drop? What's the drop rate on blaze rod normally?
I want to say I'm 2-4-3 right now. Yeah. Okay. So I'm 3-4-4. Not using a shield. No shield. No F3 gang. So yeah, it looks like I'm 4-for-5, which is really, really good.
That's really good.
And then I have 2 spawn right here, which is just insane. And I think, yeah, both of these guys drop 1, so I have 6. Now the safe strat is to get at least 7. So if an eye breaks while you're trying to find the stronghold, that you'd have extra blaze powder. But I thought that was so perfect. Like, I got all the rods so quickly, and it was so perfect that I feel like I'd be dumb, not to go for it, I just felt like it was too perfect. And right here, I'm doing Firebow. This was invented by Howell. Discovered by...
It's a 50% drop rate, but he just got 6 out of 7. Wow, that's insane.
By Howell. And basically, the reason why I light the boat on fire is because it gives you more horizontal distance when you go off a ledge like that. I don't think I needed to use it, but I just did it for safety. So it's a pretty funny strat. Shout out to Howell for finding it. And this is the Treasure Bastion. That's what it's called. And this is, in my opinion, the best bastion. Just because, I think it's the best mainly because it can be so quick. Like, compared to the other bastions, besides housing, it's just so quick. And you can see I didn't have gold armor going up. Oh, and also there was lava. I thought this bastion was kind of dead because of the lava, but thankfully I just walked right past it. And here I'm using a route by Ninja Brain. I don't know if this is like the fastest route or the best route, but I was practicing this route like the day of, like before I started streaming. I was just practicing this. So I decided just to go for it. And I actually kind of play this really bad. This is the worst part of the run, you'll see in a second. But I'll show you why I make the dip there. There was 3 spots. Okay, so there were 3 spots where gold could have spawned, and it didn't spawn in any of them, which is actually really unlucky. So that actually makes this route really bad. But you can see I dropped gold down there, So that's why I make the hole there, so I can drop gold on the piglins. I make a mistake here by not dropping the 9 gold that I have now on the piglins. I should have dropped that. And you can see I'm really getting scammed by the gold. Like, I very easily could have non-gone all the pearls I needed, which is, I'm so glad I did. I'm very, very glad. So you see how I play this pretty badly.
Wait, so the gold that he's giving to the piglins gets him a ender pearl? To drop ender pearls from that?
I take this, and then I have all the pearls, and all I need is the obsidian. I am 3 obsidian. Oh wait, I got 2 obsidian. I'm just missing 1. Okay, and this is where the mistake is. I did not realize that I picked up all the gold.
So when Dream cheated, he cheated because he like somehow manipulated the RNG on the ender pearl drop from the piglins. Is that what was the claim against him?
I thought that they still were trading the gold, and I realized the mistake, and I throw it, and then I throw it again, and I missed the hole. I think they were trading right now, but I don't realize that they're not. This is definitely the thing that made the run not, like, this is the most scuffed part of the run for sure. It's kind of embarrassing, but I pick up the gold, I realize my mistake, I throw it down, and thankfully it actually didn't even end up wasting that much time. Thankfully, because I get the obsidian trade right there, bam. So it wasn't that bad. Like, I didn't waste that much time. And we're sub 840 blind travel.
Wait. So he's building a second end portal, or excuse me, a second nether portal in the nether. You have to be extremely lucky. You have to spawn near a village, find 10 obsidian, instantly find fortress, have really good drops from blaze, have piglins immediately drop ender pearls, find an extremely close fortress, have dragon land as soon as you enter the end stronghold. Yeah. Seems like it, huh?
Which is actually insane. This is one of the fastest blind travels ever, I want to say. I don't know.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. You have to get back out of the nether and then start dropping ender eyes of ender to lead you to a stronghold. Are we debriefing the Panther case study tomorrow? Yeah, we'll spend like maybe 10 minutes. I'll just open it up for questions. There's nothing in particular that I want to go over about it, but if people have any particular questions, I can talk a little bit around it before we move on to human evolution stuff. Absolutely. So if you have questions, you can either ask now or you can save them for tomorrow.
I don't know what the fastest blind travels are, but I know this is probably one of the fastest. Definitely my fastest by far. I think my best is like 11 minutes or 10 minutes around there. Probably 10 minutes. So pretty crazy blind travel.
So he's using ender pearls to find...
The amount of pearls that I got, it's crazy how many pearls that I got. It's really clutch because I can use my pearls to get to the stronghold quicker. I throw an eye early just to make sure that we didn't get, god blind travel. And judging by the angle of that, that eye that I just threw, the angle seems really bad to me just intuitively, so I'm thinking, okay, well, that's not good. This one's probably not going to be record. That's what I'm thinking at this point. I could have threw my pearls much quicker, and I feel like I could have thrown my pearls much more. You can see, okay, I can see I'm throwing my eye a lot just because, like, I really don't want to make sure I missed it. I made that mistake many times where I just keep on throwing.
Wait, what's the difference? So he throws the ender pearl. Oh, because you travel with ender pearl. When you throw an ender pearl, you move to its location, so you can actually travel faster that way. I got it, never mind. And then you throw the eye of ender to help you find the portal or the strong end fortress or the stronghold.
Or to keep on running and traveling and then just not just passing by the stronghold so much. Also, there's an ocean here, so so strongholds have a tendency to spawn or generate near coasts. So I throw one here just to make sure that it's not next to, or it's near the coast, or just to find out. But then one breaks, and this is really bad. Like, it has to be a 1 eye or more, which is really monkey. At this point, I don't really have a lot of faith in the run. I do like that it's ocean, and I do recognize that if the stronghold's exposed, that this run could be insane. But there's no sight. Like, I have no sights of the stronghold at this point, so I'm just increasingly thinking that, okay, this run's probably not going to be a record, but maybe it could be a nutty PB, or like PB by a lot. Like, that's what I'm thinking at this point. Like, I think it's a bad mindset to think that a run could be world record. Just go, just do the run and see what happens. I wasn't really thinking about world record much at all during this, but okay, I passed by a coast again, so I threw one just to make sure that it wasn't there, and it wasn't. Still don't see it. So yeah, if you haven't noticed already, this blind travel, especially compared to other world records, is very bad. Like, like you don't travel. This is kind of spoiling the run if you haven't seen it, but it was a 1500 blind travel. which is absolutely insane. I honestly did not think you could get a world record with anything more than like 500 blind travel, but thankfully I had pearls. Thankfully there was an ocean, so obviously, like, let's say if I spawned above the stronghold, I could have stayed like 2 to 3 minutes, which would have been easily sub 12. So yeah, that would have been insane if the if the spawn was above the stronghold, but it was. I see the stronghold right now and I'm freaking out because I also see light sources, and light sources are a good indication that maybe there's the portal room.
Ooh.
I don't know if there's a portal room yet, but I'm thinking, oh my gosh, there very well could be a portal
So
room.
he just stumbled upon it really quickly. That's good.
So I go down here to this source of light, and it's clearly not the portal room. So I go to the second source of light, and you can see right here that, yep, that's definitely the portal room. And I don't think
Wow.
I've ever been so nervous in a run at this point.
Yeah, you got to be nervous at a certain point when all the RNG is lining up, and you get to the point where now all of the RNG has worked in your favor, and now you just have to execute on killing the Ender Dragon. I mean, imagine the nerves. Like, you got 12:30, and you're already about to go to the end. Like, dang. And the world record is 14, so you've got like, all right, I have a minute and a half to do this. Ashi, with the coding for protection, is that impacted in some way by if the trait being coded for is complete dominance versus incomplete versus co, or is it just not because that's just looking at the genotype? Yeah, no, I don't think as far as I'm aware, I could be wrong on that, but as far as I'm aware, there is no relationship. It doesn't matter whether the trait, the coded for trait, is a incomplete, co-dominant, or complete dominant situation in regards to the like coincidental protection that one of the alleles might offer. I don't think so. No. Like, so for example, with blood types, right? Blood types, you have what's up, T-Dub? How you doing, man? We're just watching I'm answering some questions, and we're just watching the world record speed run that, who was this? That got a couple days ago. Illumina posted. So for example, with blood type, you've got like A, B, and O. I think there is something about certain blood types that do confer some advantage in different ways. But I don't know it 100%. But I don't think it's not just because it's like a co-dominant trait. It could be any sort of pattern of inheritance, so to speak. It's insane record. Yeah, he's had really good RNG up to this point, so he's just got to finish and execute.
It's quite crazy, actually. So, yeah, I need a pretty decent nether, or not nether. I need a pretty decent end to clutch out the world record. It pretty much just comes down to the dragon. Like, thankfully, the dragon, gave me the RNG I needed. Do some purling. Take out.
So what's the RNG with the dragon? So when the dragon appears, it has a potential to land on the middle post, like fly down to that middle post right off the bat, and then you can go and you can spam beds on it and get the kill right away, and you don't have to wait for it to like circle around. So sometimes it'll circle before it perches, and in this case it just drops right away and perches, so that's like really nice.
The beds in my hotbar, and right now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, the dragon's on the other side. This could be really good. I throw a pearl up here, and I see the dragon right there. It looked like it was about to perch. I genuinely thought the dragon was going to perch there, and I was going to lose my mind. But if you don't know why I'm going up here, is that the dragon has a slightly higher chance of perching if you build up. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this. I'm just getting ready to pearl. I don't want to miss this perch. I've had runs die due to me missing the perch, so I was prepared.
So and
then I see the dragon perch.
So it took a minute for the dragon to perch once he entered the end. Is that good time?
And I got a nail of 5 bed. Do I do it?
Also, nail of 5 bed means it takes 5 bed explosions to completely kill the Ender Dragon. And it's possible to do that in one perch.
Let's see. Oh, and the dragon gets so low there. I'm so happy the dragon didn't break the bed. That could have been so bad, but yes, I get a 5 bed. Almost kind of close to a 4 bed. I mean, you can't contend with a 5 bed. But yeah, GG, that's world record, and I'm just gonna let the reaction play. What? Bro!
Okay, he's having you could tell he's having like a breakdown. Or like he's like, it's almost like his breath he's not able to catch his breath.
My first run of the day. What the heck?
His voice is so high. Wait, I want to hear what his voice was like before. Hold on.
Yes, I get a 5 bit. Kind of close to a 4 bit. I mean, you can't complain with a 5 bit.
His voice is normal.
Yeah, so that's world record, and I'm just gonna let the reaction play. What?
And then it goes super high. That's pretty cool.
Bro.
Good for him.
I just started the stream.
I wonder how long he's been
Oh my God.
speedrunning it.
This is like my first run of the day. What the heck? What? This is my first run of the day. I can't believe it. Oh, I'm recording, guys. Don't worry, I'm recording. Oh my God, dude. I got sub 14, let's go. It wasn't by much, but I still did it. First sub 14, let's go. No F3. This is a big day for the no F3 community. What the hell? This is the first ever no F3 world record at 1.16. Here it is. I did it. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. What the heck? That run was cracked. That overworld carried that run. And the nether. The nether was really good too. The blind Java was not good, but oh my God, dude. I don't care. I got one.
Pretty cool. Also, is coding for protection the term, or is there a different term for that gene that's coding by coincidence and stuff? I think if you said coding for protection, you're implying that the gene has been selected for in some way to actually confer protection, and like that's its main function. So probably when you say coding for protection, that probably is not the best term to use there. Maybe conferring some protection. But coding for indicates that it's like somehow been like selected for intentionally to actually provide that as its primary function, but it's not the primary function. It's just like a side function that's coincidental. So conferring probably is a better word than coding, but I don't think there's like any technical term as far as I'm aware for that. Mouse Pillow, could I go over what deleterious alleles are and some examples of them? Sure. So, okay. So, let's see. I think the best way to describe this would be to kind of talk about, to just, use an example as a context for this. So let's imagine, so a good example of a deleterious, excuse me, a deleterious allele is, we'll use the example that Nate provided earlier, which was sickle cell anemia. So imagine, let me clear this. So let's say that there is an allele, let's say little a. This codes for a sickled cell. What does that mean? Basically, you have a red blood cell. Like, hold on a second. And then big A codes for a round blood cell. Sorry, this should say blood. They're both blood cells. Right? So there's this allele that determines the shape. Let's say there's a gene that determines the shape of your red blood cells. The dominant allele gives you a round blood cell, and the recessive allele gives you a sickled one. What does that look like? We say something like, okay, that's a round blood cell. A sickled one looks like this. Okay. Now, the problem is this shape here, this is deleterious because it is not correctly shaped. It will get stuck to each other, like they hook on each other. They get stuck in your arteries and veins. They can basically cause clots. So we say it's deleterious. Let's see, causes, we'll just say causes clots. So what we would say is that if you are big A, you are fine. Fine, or like we could say healthy. If you are little a, you are unhealthy, or maybe even deadly / deadly, depending. Right? So it's clear that the recessive allele in this case is deleterious. It's not good for you. You do not want the deleterious. You do not want two deleterious alleles, if they're recessive, because it causes some problems. Now, the weird case with sickle cell anemia. So this is called sickle cell anemia. So this is sickle cell anemia. And then this is healthy / normal. Now, of course, there's one other option, right? You could be big A, little a. It's totally possible that you have one of each allele. Now, the interesting thing about this one is the recessive allele in this case actually gives you an advantage, interestingly enough. So not only is this an example of a deleterious allele, but it's also an advantage of something called a heterozygote advantage, or an example of something called a heterozygote advantage. You are resistant to malaria. Because malaria is a parasite. I believe it's a parasite, or is it a virus? It's some sort of pathogen that you get that infects your red blood cells and causes them to be destroyed. But if your blood cells are sickle-shaped, the malaria cannot infect them properly. So if you have some sickled cells, you are actually resistant to malaria. And you also do not have sickle cell anemia. So this is actually a good advantage. So we're resistant to malaria. So this is actually a pretty good place to be. So we would say this is like maybe potentially ideal in certain places, right? Only in places where malaria is prevalent. Does that make sense, Mouse Pillow? I can give another example if you want to go over it a little more. Akash, is it theoretically possible, given enough time, for an organism to evolve with mutations that allow it to, in the future, have a higher rate of more beneficial mutations or a lower rate of harmful ones? I'm trying to think about what your question, what that means. Hold on a second. Is it theoretically possible, given enough time, for an organism to evolve with mutations that allow it to, in the future, have a higher rate of more beneficial? Wait. Are you saying that the organism would somehow, that there would be some original mutations that then confer some sort of ability to create more mutations that are beneficial? I don't think that that's possible, because by definition, a mutation is completely random. Can deleterious alleles ever be dominant? Yes, they can, Mouse Pillow. Deleterious alleles can be dominant. A good example would be Huntington's disease, is a disease caused by a dominant allele. Also, achondroplasia, aka dwarfism, is caused by a dominant allele as well. So yeah, Akash, by definition, I think mutations are random. So there would not be a way for you to although the second part of what you said, or a lower rate of harmful ones, maybe not necessarily harmful ones, but organisms have evolved certain mechanisms that are meant to keep in check the amount of mutations that occur, or to repair harmful mutations, right? So like the checkpoints in the cell cycle with things like cyclins and P53, these kinds of genes that have evolved in organisms are useful for preventing mutations in general, or repairing mutations, or checking for them, especially harmful mutations. So organisms have evolved in such a way as to reduce the number of harmful mutations by checking for them and trying to repair them. But there's really no way that I could imagine an organism would evolve to somehow control the kinds of mutations that occur in it and make it so that they're more beneficial. That just seems like an impossibility to me. It seems like, based on what I understand about how mutations work, it just doesn't seem like possible. Is Tay-Sachs also an example of a deleterious allele? Yeah, yep, exactly. Yeah. Tay-Sachs is a rough one. I believe Tay-Sachs is something that you can test for early on in the embryo. Yeah, I think you can do it. They have embryonic tests or fetal tests for Tay-Sachs. What up, Joe? Ashi, wait, but then with deleterious dominant, is it that it's then most common for people to have the homozygous recessive? Yes, yep, that is true. Yeah, so for example, like with the Huntington's disease thing, you would have most people are homozygous recessive for Huntington's disease, right? Obviously. Because if you're heterozygous, you still have it. If you're homozygous dominant, you still have it. Just finished studying for the chem test. Which chem are you in, Joe? Which chem? Chem H? AP chem? Honors. Got it. Chemistry honors. How you liking chem honors compared to bio? Doomkaiser, what's up, man? New setup. When you say new setup, are you referring to the overlay here, or are you talking more about my camera? Because my camera right now is my old webcam. Because my nice Sony one, it has the battery's running out or something. Something's going on with the battery. So I had to bust out I had to dust off the old Logitech webcam. The Logitech C310 Classic. I think it's C310. Yeah, Logitech C310. Akash, well, I guess there could be a mutation to the process of mitosis that could check for harmful mutations and prevent them without hindering the ability of an organism to adapt to its environment through positive mutations. Well, that is what has happened, right? That is what has happened. That is the way organisms already function. They have the cell cycle with cyclins and P53 that oversee the cyclins that are checking specifically for mutations that are detrimental and have damaged the chromosomes or the DNA in such a way that would make the cell non-functional. However, there is no way to somehow promote beneficial mutations. But that's what I was trying to say earlier with this last part of your original statement, with the idea of lowering the rate of harmful mutations. That is already built into to the cell cycle, the regulatory mechanisms of the cell cycle during mitosis, with the things like cyclins and cell checkpoints and P53 and that kind of stuff. And that's particularly in part to prevent harmful mutations that could cause things like cancer or other issues with cells. So, what's up, NJ? How goes it? Long time no see. So, yeah. But yeah, Doomkaiser, I'm really hoping that my my Sony camera is not that. The battery hasn't just been completely wiped out. Because you know how after a certain point you use batteries long enough that the power holding ability, or the ability for it to hold energy, whatever it is called, the energy storage potential of a battery is somehow diminished. It just loses its ability to charge. I worry that that's what's happening with my webcam. And if that is the case, I don't know if there's easy ways to replace batteries in things like mirrorless or HDR cameras. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to. Yeah, that's the issue with this camera, is the frame rate. You can tell, right? There's a little stutter to it. It's not perfect. Oh, I should keep it from 40 to 60% to reduce the stress. What's up, Nyanika? Nyanika, I haven't seen you in a while. It has been. I've been good. I've been doing good, I might be getting a puppy on Saturday. I'm going to drive up to Sacramento and take a look at a litter of 12 puppies that were born at a foster home to a dog that hopefully there's going to be some cute ones in there that I can take home. So that'll be good. How have you been? Things been going good for you? I keep looking at my other webcam, which is over here, because I'm so used to that one, but I forget. Pivot. Oh, man, 40 to 60%. Yeah, see, the problem is I use my camera so much during the day due to remote learning that it's on pretty much the entire day. Now it is plugged into my computer, or excuse me, I have it plugged into the charging thing. So typically what will happen is it will charge up to 100% at night, and then during the day I'm using it, but it's still plugged in, so it's not draining as much. I don't know, I'm just going to ask you, Doom Kaiser, I don't know if you really do know much about battery use and how to like maximize their lifespan. Is it a problem to utilize something that has a battery while it's plugged in and charging? Like, is that a problem to not only be charging the battery, but also be draining at the same time? Like, does that cause issues with like the longevity and durability of the battery? Beagle Lab Pit mix is the greatest dog ever. Beagle Lab and Pit. The dogs that I'm looking at do have a little bit of are like 42% Pit. American Staffordshire Terrier, and then there's like a little bit of Retriever in there. There's no Beagle or Pit, or no Beagle or Lab, I don't think, but there's a little bit of Pit. They run like the DNA tests on these. I think they got a little bit of Pit. Mostly Pit, a little bit of Retriever, a little bit of Dalmatian, like 10 to 12% in there, and some other things. So, but it is definitely a mutt, which I like because mutts are typically healthier because they've got like more genetic variation. Speaking of evolution. So yeah, Nyanika, looking forward to it. I will, if I do end up acquiring said pup, I will show it on stream next week sometime. Ashi, with the topic of protection, how exactly is it that the alleles can code for the trait, but like by coincidence code for protection? So it's just that, Ashi. It's just coincidentally they code for protection, right? Like it's just kind of random that they ended up coding for protection. So for example, with the example that I have here on the on this that I've written out here on the slide, or on the paint, this paint canvas, whatever you call it, it's a coincidence, I think. Or maybe not a coincidence necessarily, but this recessive allele, right? This A is conferring a resistance to malaria, right? Which is kind of coincidental, right? Because it's not necessarily what the red blood cell should not be shaped like a sickle, right? That is not the like ideal shape of a blood cell. All right, NJ, have a good night. Thanks for the input on the batteries there. So it's kind of a coincidence, right, that this A recessive allele here is offering some resistance to malaria. Just by nature of the odd shape that it creates in the cell, it therefore also confers some resistance to a parasite. Dog tier list. We could do a dog tier list before the night's out. It's a good idea. You can think of a battery as a spring. If you stretch the spring too much or compress it too much, the battery will be put under stress. Well, I can definitely tell you that this battery is getting stressed out because it has gone up to 100% quite frequently because I leave it plugged in overnight. And I think during the day, it has been drained to 0%. We're like here and there. It's hard to know exactly what percent it operates at, but it's definitely, have its issues because I turned this thing off. I turned this off about at like, let's say 3:30 today. And then I turned it back on to start streaming at about 6:30, 6:45. So I gave it a full 3 hours, and that's usually plenty. And I have not run into any issues, like using it during the day to teach, turning it off for a few hours in the afternoon, and then turning it back on to stream. That has worked fine for the last few months, but I don't know. It could also just not have charged for some reason or another, but I don't know why that would be the case. I don't know. Thanks for the help, though. I hope things get better. This happened before, and then it never happened again for like a couple months, and now it's happening again. So I don't know. YouTube is 24 seconds slower, Akash. Oh, man, yeah. YouTube is not that friendly for streaming. I don't know what YouTube is thinking with their streaming service. What YouTube should do. Now, okay, I can speak like this, but I have no idea really what they should do because they know more than I do. But what I would imagine they should do is they should make like a YouTube live, like separate entity or site or something like that, where they just, copy some of the like really cool features that Twitch has, like the chat features, and the like engagement features and all that stuff. Because as of right now, YouTube streaming is kind of boring compared to things like Twitch. And the latency is pretty low. Like it takes a lot longer. So the immediate engagement that you have with your chatters is not as good as Twitch, because Twitch is like 5 to 7 seconds usually, which is pretty quick. YouTube has built-in delay for people who stream games to not get stream sniped. Well, the problem is I'm not streaming. This is not a gaming stream. I haven't set it up to stream for games. But actually, you know what? Maybe this isn't YouTube's problem because I'm streaming through a third-party website that is then pushing it through to YouTube. So I'm not directly streaming to YouTube. I'm streaming to Restream, and then Restream goes to YouTube. So that relay process is probably causing more delay. So let's see. Ashi, wait, I thought we were looking at alleles and not the phenotypes. We are. This is the allele, right? The little a is the allele that we're looking at. It just coincidentally confers a phenotypic resistance, right? Just like any other gene that would coincidentally offer protection, the protection is the phenotype, right? The protection is the phenotype. Mouse pillow for drone batteries. It's advised that the battery have a cool down period before charging it back up if it drains to 0. Huh, interesting. Interesting. Asha, you're confused. Do you understand this, Ashi? What I just said about you have a recessive allele A, right? That is conferring an advantage of being resistant to malaria. This is the allele. This is the phenotype. So the phenotype is coded for by the alleles, or is created by the alleles. Akita is S tier, Doom Kaiser? Interesting. I don't know. Dude, I just opened a dog tier list. There's too many dogs to go through, and I don't know nearly enough of them. Look. Okay, dog breed tier list. Watch, we'll scroll down and look at how many dogs we have to choose from. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? As if we're supposed to know what these all are. Here, how about this? A relationship to evolution. You know how humans have gone too far? When you get dogs like... Humans have gone too far and need to stop when you get dogs like... where are they? These guys. This is a straight D tier dog. It can barely breathe. These things are like struggling to breathe on a daily basis because their face is so smashed in from selective breeding. Probably made for dog connoisseurs. I am definitely not a dog connoisseur. I want a more simple one. I don't want like a million breeds, you know? Oh my God, I can't do it. I can't do it. Wait, so in heterozygous, it is that both alleles are coding for the proteins and stuff. So like both options are in the thing, but only one's expressed. Hold on. So in this case, what you're looking at here, okay, so let's get this straight. All right, so the dominant allele, okay, A, that is the dominant allele. We have A is our dominant allele. It codes for a round blood cell. That is the phenotype. The little a allele codes for a sickled cell. That is the phenotype that this codes for. Now, when you have a heterozygous situation, you get both some sickled cells and some round cells in your blood. You get a mix. The fact that there is a mix does not give you sickle cell anemia because you don't have enough sickled cells to create this problematic health disorder. So you do not get sickle cell anemia. But you do have some sickled cells, and just having some gives you this resistance to malaria, which is a beneficial phenotype. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, well, Akash, I remember YouTube gaming was a thing, but it never seemed like didn't really take off. You could have 10 million people watching and it wouldn't credit. Okay, I think the last thing I have to worry about, Akash, is having enough people watching my stream that I crash a server. So I think that's not on my a high priority on my list of needs in a streaming service. So kind of Ashi. Okay. I wonder if using a different example might help you here. Let's clear this. Let's maybe come up with, let's what if we came up with a different example? Let's see. Let me think of a different example. I'm a little tired tonight. Wait, hold on. Ashi, I've actually kind of lost track a little bit of what we're trying to get to. I think I've been explaining like things, but I'm almost forgotten what the original thing was that we were trying to talk about. Can you see if you can put it very clearly, the question you're trying to ask? Because I've actually lost track in my head a little bit about where we are on this. So you said you asked about the protection and how it is that it can be sort of coded for by coincidence. But I don't think that's what I'm confused about now, though. Okay. Okay. So what are you confused about now? This whole thing is getting scuffed, you guys. My whole Dyson Sphere program. I might have to take some time to just like reorganize everything. I mean, I can get it to work. It's just not looking pretty. Like, I'd prefer it to look a lot prettier than it is right now. This is what I was working on over here, actually. All right, I got these things, these super magnetic rings going, because I think what I'm trying to do. I mean, I am organized to an extent, but it's like, it's not as pretty as it could be. Like, it could be much more sleek. I could organize things much more like, streamlined, so to speak. It'll work. It'll get the job done, but it's not pretty. Bye, Arya. Have a good night. Alright, so we got this building. So now what does I got to do? So I'm trying to build these things. These rail ejectors. And they require processors. I have all the things to build these now, actually. Should also get more oil going. More oil refining. Gotta find more crude oil seep. Alright. What's the delay over here, actually? What's the limiting factor here? Limiting factor are these motors. And these motors, what's limiting these motors? Actually, these motors are not limited. I can build more assemblers to make more motors, which would then speed this up. Okay. Another one. Is the beef going to be resolved tomorrow? Yes. We will deal with the beef tomorrow, hopefully. We'll get to the bottom of the beef. Shia LaBeef. Wait, this goes in, out. With sickle cell anemia and how both the sickled and regular cells are shown in heterozygous, is that codominance or is it complete? That it would have to be codominance, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it would probably have to be codominance, right? Because both the sickled and the round cells are present in the phenotype. So it would have to be it'd have to be co, yeah. I think there's no two ways about it. All right, so now hopefully that's going to be enough. Now I got to build. This is going to mess up my whole situation. Build a bunch of these guys. Wait. Oh no, this is this now. This. Yeah, Kosh, I don't know. I mean, I really don't know what is happening with the situation, but it needs to be resolved and addressed because it's just getting on my nerves. I know that. It's causing me to have to spend a lot more energy getting involved with things that I'd rather just not have to deal with. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean. Ashi, because he thought it was that only the dominant alleles. Thought that only the dominant allele was coding for the original trait. Incomplete dominance. So is that actually just not the case? Well, I think what you might be confused about is like, so when I said that those wouldn't impact the protection, what I meant is it doesn't necessarily matter whether it's complete, incomplete, or codominance. Not necessarily, because you could have protection in a situation of any. It just so happened that the example of sickle cell anemia was, I guess, a codominant situation, but it could also be other ones as well. So it doesn't have to just be that. I mean the issue might be is that we might not be actually talking about the same thing. When I said it doesn't matter, I meant like you could have this coincidental protection in any of those three cases. How are we doing over here? What's slowing us down? Worry now is that we're going to run out of... I'm going to be starting to take too many of these magnets off the line here. Too many of these magnets. Because these magnets are feeding both these electromagnetic turbines and my electric motors are both requiring these magnets running along here, which means that they're going to be probably getting short. We're going to get short on them. A little bit short on them, so we'll see how that goes. Now we're running low on motors. And the question is, why are we running low on motors? These things are just not pumping them out as fast as I want. They're fully supplied, though. Maybe I need to start upgrading my stuff. Because these are the old assemblers. If I upgrade them to, like, better assemblers. Oh... Mechanical Lynn, what is up? How are you? What are you confused about? You're humming in the chat. Neonica, you're gonna head out. You got some lectures to catch up on. Good luck with your pup. Thanks. I appreciate your wishes on that pup. I hope you do well with your classes too. I hope everything's going good. All right, sounds good, Nate. I will see you tomorrow. Andrew. Can I nay-nay? What's a nay-nay again? Is this the song? This is the nay-nay? No. I can't. That's easy. I can't. Oh, this game... oh, sorry. Did I not change my Twitch stream title? Or game, rather? Oh, yeah. It should be Dyson Sphere Program. I forgot to update my title. Dyson Sphere. You're doing less than for preferred, but it's all right. Oh yeah, I knew it. I knew it. These magnets are not gonna. We're gonna run out of magnets now on this line, which is limiting every production here. Now if I look over here, dislike. This is terrible. Unsub dislike. I'm sorry. If you want to teach me, you could teach me to nay-nay. I'd be down for a little tutorial. Ashi, would you prefer if you ask it in class? Yeah, I mean, it seems to me like we might just be talking past each other and like miscommunicating, because I think we're stuck on like something we're not able to clarify, and it might be because I'm able to talk to you, but you're just chatting back to me, and so you're not able to express yourself properly or as well as you could. So maybe if we talk tomorrow in class or after class, we can, communicate more effectively just by talking and get to the bottom of it. Or, because maybe right now it's just frustrating us and we're not really getting anywhere. All right, so what's going on here is we are running out of magnets. So these magnets, where are they coming from? Way over here. See, this is all scuffed. Like these lines crisscrossing everywhere. All right, these guys are producing magnets. Not fast enough. I can make more magnet producers here, for sure. Yeah, Lynn, they were real. I teach biology and I teach environmental science classes. So on Wednesday nights, I do a little office hours Q&A stream, and I usually start at like 7, and so it went for about an hour and a half, depending on the day. Sometimes there's a lot more questions than others. Today was pretty light. And so I transitioned to playing some Dyson Sphere Program. Thanks for the follow. Wait, ew, but pog? Where's the ew part come in? Are you ewing the subject matter? Are you ewing the concept of a office hours? Are you ewing Dyson Sphere? Subject matter. Oh, how dare you? How dare you? What's so bad about biology and environmental science? Those are two amazing subjects that you have no right to ew, and that I take offense. Not your favorite? Not your forte? What is your forte? If you had to pick one subject that was your forte. Oh man, I'm running out of... Oh man, I'm gonna need more power. Alright, so this is not bad. Let's build more of these. Tesla towers. I got more of these. Math and physics. Hey, I ain't got no issues with those. Those are legit. Alright. About time to upgrade our power. Whoa, wait a minute. What's happening here? No fuel? Oh, that's the problem. Alright, time to gather more. Even though I majored in biology, like molecular and cellular biology, I can honestly say that my physics classes in college were some of my favorite classes, or were some of the classes that I felt like really, really broadened my understanding of the world at a level that I felt like was really awesome. Now, I will say that biology helped my understanding of the world probably more from like a more maybe not more, but in a different way. Like they're both really good at helping you kind of really come to grips with like how the world works, but just very different contexts, but at the same time highly related. Ashi, you feel like the main thing that you don't fully understand is the concept of the whole protection thing, and I think I might have accidentally completely misinterpreted the first half of genetics. Oh my god. Ashi. Wait. Are you telling me that you think you misinterpreted the entire first half of our genetics unit? But didn't you do well on that test? I feel like you did fine on the exam. You're making me question the legitimacy of my exams. All right, now we're pumping, baby. Now we're pumping with coal. Now we're pumping with coal. They are both different parts of the world, yeah. But a lot of people will argue. So one of the things you'll hear in science quite often, to what I would say is maybe, I don't know. I haven't thought fully enough yet about this. I tended to agree with it for the most part as an undergrad and recently, but like recently because I've been getting into more philosophy and like thinking about things from a philosophical standpoint, I'm starting to question some of my scientific foundations. But like people will say that like, okay, biology you can just reduce biology to chemistry, And then chemistry, you can just reduce chemistry to physics, right? That's what people will say about those three subjects. Which for the longest time I felt like that made sense, right? Because biological processes at bottom are just, chemical reactions and interactions between atoms and molecules. And interactions between atoms, molecules, is literally just physical processes that could be described by physics, whether quantum mechanics or like classical Newtonian physics, what have you. So ultimately, I always felt like it was weird that in our school we start with biology, then go chemistry, and then go physics. It feels weird. It feels to me like you should just reverse that and go physics, chem, bio, because then you're like building up from the bottom. But some people will argue with that whole notion of that. They'll say like, no, like, but yet you start to get into some real like philosophy stuff and like the metaphysics of what it means to be. I don't know. Some stuff gets really weird there. But in general, I think you could make that kind of a general claim. So Ashi, I thought I understood codominance and complete and incomplete, and I'm confusing you. Okay, should we take a second to like clear your mind here? Because I think you think I'm confusing you, but I don't think I am. Okay, so just as a reminder, okay, we have complete dominance. Complete dominance. Okay, that does not look like a D. You got complete dominance. You've got co-dominance, and you've got incomplete dominance. Okay, these are the three what we call patterns of inheritance, or ways in which alleles express themselves at the genetic or at the phenotypic level, or how they interact with each other, right? No, Ashi, we'll do it. We'll do it right now. We'll do it. I just want to make sure that you aren't confused about the types of inheritance, right? So complete dominance is you've got, let's say, a dominant allele and a recessive allele. That gives you a dominant phenotype because the big B is completely dominant to the little b. All right, Akash, have a good night. I will see you tomorrow on the stream. Tomorrow we'll get to the bottom of the whole the Minecraft server drama that we had to deal with this week. So I want to get the people who are involved in that together, and we'll have a conversation and make sure people clear it up. For codominant, you have one allele, and then you have like, remember we use different letters, right? So we say like B and F. This gives you a mix, right? You get a I don't know what the best word I used. What did I use? Like you get both alleles are present, or both alleles show up in the phenotype. And then incomplete dominance, if you've got your B and your F allele, here the alleles blend together to give you to create a to create a third phenotype, so to speak. Right, so that's the basic. I don't think you misunderstood that. You understand that? I just don't fully understand the heterozygous in each case, because I thought that heterozygous incomplete means that only the dominant is coded for. And complete, both incomplete is the blend. That's all true. That's all correct. But now with the whole premise of the protection in complete dominance, how would heterozygous be any different than homozygous dominant because only dominant alleles are coding? Right. Yeah. Oh, I think now I see where your confusion is. That makes sense. Okay. So what you're asking essentially, okay. Oh, I see where the confusion is. Okay, this is good. All right. So so this is because it's the protection that you're talking about is not the protection you're talking about, whether it is co-incomplete or co-dominant, would be separate than the thing that the allele was originally coding for, right? So for example, it's possible to have like let me think how I can explain this. So let's put it this way. So the protection could be acting in a co-dominant way, right? The coincidental protection could be acting in a co-dominant way, but then the original function, the actual function of the allele, could be acting in a complete dominant way, because you're talking about two different traits. You're talking about protection and then the original function or trait of the allele, right? And so those two functions may have different patterns of inheritance. So just because the original trait was like a co-dominant situation doesn't necessarily mean that the protection trait, the coincidental trait, is also going to be a co-dominant situation. Does that make sense? Is that clearing up your confusion? Yeah, you're probably just overthinking it and overcomplicating it for myself. I think you 100% are, but I also think I think the answer to your question there is yes, you are overthinking it, but at the same time, I see where I understand like why you're overthinking it and where you're trying to go with it, and what you're trying to dig down to. I think, but I don't want you to, like, in pursuit of you digging down to like try and really figure this out, I don't want you to like mess up your understanding of like the basics at the same time. Like, it might not be worth you going too deep here if the cost of you going too deep on this really edge case scenario is gonna like mess with your understanding of like the basic stuff that you need to know for the class. It's not worth it. Don't go that deep. Do not go so deep. Sometimes going too deep is not worth it. Sometimes it is just not worth it. Nathan, so since the Minecraft drama thing is tomorrow, when is the trial discussion happening? Wait, what do you mean by trial? William, what's up? Are persistent organic pollutants and endocrine disruptors the same/similar? So persistent organic pollutants are a general term for any pollutant or any compound or chemical in the environment that persists, which usually means that it accumulates in like the fatty tissues of an organism, It is possible that an endocrine disruptor could be a POP, a persistent organic pollutant. But I don't know if all endocrine disruptors are POPs. That's a good point. Let's look this up real quick. Let me just remind myself. Examples of endocrine disruptors. I want to see if there are any that, because I mean PCB is the easy classic one that we talk about. Here we go. So DDT, which is definitely a POP, a persistent organic pollutant. PCB is polychlorinated biphenyls, which is PCB. Estradiol, estrogen, testosterone. I don't know if these are. Yeah, I don't know if every single endocrine disruptor is a persistent organic pollutant. I don't know if it's persistent. It might be there might be some endocrine disruptors out there that are not. Let's see. Let's just look. Let's just type this in. Let's see. Persistent. I feel persistent wrong. There's a little article from the Journal of Environmental Management, a review of toxicity induced by persistent organic pollutants and endocrine disrupting chemicals, EDCs, in the nematode. C. elegans. Everything uses C. elegans. Okay, persistent organic pollutants and endocrine disrupting compounds are almost ubiquitous in synthetic and natural sources. However, these contaminants adversely impact ecosystems and health. Owing to their potential toxicity, concerns have been raised about the effects of POPs and EDCs on ecological and human health. Therefore, toxicity evaluation and mechanisms of actions of these contaminants are of great interest. My guess is that there's probably some endocrine disruptors that are not persistent organic pollutants. And there's definitely persistent organic pollutants that are not endocrine disruptors. So I think it would be like a Venn diagram. Like I think what you would end up with is like it would look like something like this. You'd have like POPs and endocrine disruptors. And then you'd have like overlap here, right? Where you'd have some endocrine disruptors are POPs, but not all of them is my guess. Or the Venn diagram might look more like this maybe. Like maybe it's much more like this. Like it's much more of an overlap, right? POPs and then endocrine disruptors, but like most endocrine disruptors are POPs. That's kind of the best I can do for you. Does that answer your question? You know that Ace, Mr. Spy, does not check the server ping, so I personally DM him the notice. Isn't it like a... Nathan, I don't know what it's going to be. I'm imagining it's not going to be a trial. There's no trial here. There's definitely not a trial. It's a, it's going to be more of like, what do they call it? When you have like, when you have two parties who are at odds and have a disagreement and they want to settle it, but they don't want to go into court. It's a, wait, is anyone in the chat? Does anyone know what I'm talking about? There's like a technical word. That makes sense, William? Cool. Any other questions? What's the word? A mediation. It's going to be a mediation, which is kind of like a therapy session, but with a little bit more targeted. It's less emotional and more with the goal of like settling a dispute, not necessarily like therapy, which is sometimes slightly different. So it's a mediation. I will be the mediator in trying to resolve the conflict between some of the people involved. So yeah, it's a mediation, not a trial. Because usually when you do a trial, that means somebody has been accused of some crime. And in this case, not really a crime. It's more of just a dispute amongst individuals. All right, so what's the limiting factor now? It's these magnets. These magnets over here. Yeah, kind of an intervention. What time will it be? Hopefully we can do this tomorrow at, let's see. What time should we do this? Yeah, probably. Let's shoot for 8 o'clock. I want to start between 7:30 and 8. And I mean, I hope it doesn't take too long so that we could do another spleef or something. Another spleef event. But if it does take too long, then the entire night will be devoted to settling some disputes. Alright, now we got more magnets here. Which should be feeding these now more. Which should give us more of these magnetic coils. No worries, Ashi. It's all good. I hope I didn't confuse you. I hope I didn't cross your wires too much on all of that stuff. Hopefully, maybe we can talk a little bit more about it in person so that we can kind of drill down on anything that you might be confused on still. So, but other than that, have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. I'll see you tomorrow. Still not quite enough magnets. Still running. We're not getting to the end here. Okay, so I'm actually splitting these magnets. A bunch are going that way. So maybe I need more magnetic? No, but see now these aren't even working. This isn't even getting to the end, so I'm actually... Hopefully this is gonna be enough iron now. Enough iron ore to get these all going. Oh yeah. We're good. We actually could probably extend this a little bit. Or wait, is the reason why it's backed up now because I'm not outputting enough magnets? The magnets are getting backed up. No, this is all good. I should actually be doing the math on this to really figure this out. Oh, but you know, lazy. See, these are all backed up here though. This is a problem back here. Why is it slowed? Because these are not going fast enough. Alright, maybe I should start upgrading stuff. How much does it cost to upgrade this? What am I missing? Okay, I gotta look at this. So how much does it upgrade? This, oh, it requires graphene. Oh no. Graphene and processors. What does this one require? Circuit boards. So I need 4 processors and 8 graphene to upgrade my Mark 1 assembling machine to a Mark 2. And then there's a Mark 3. Yay. Accumulator. Power storage facility. When the electricity of the power grid is surplus, it will automatically store the excess power. Oh shoot, I need to make accumulators. The accumulators will store my solar energy during the day and then use at night. That's actually something I've been neglecting. Okay. What I should really do is just abandon wind power and just go hard with solar arrays and accumulators. Because these wind turbines are like, I gotta space them out. But these solar arrays offer a whole nother level. And then I don't have to rely on these thermal power plants that burn coal. Alright, well, that's a problem for another day. Alright, it is 9:30. It is my time to end, so I will see y'all later. We'll come back on tomorrow, get to the bottom of this SMP drama, and then hopefully play some more Olympic games. Maybe do a spleef. Maybe do I don't know. Maybe do a spleef. I think spleef was fun. We didn't get a lot to do it, and we people wanted to do more. So, all right, everybody. Later, Nathan. Later, Kooks. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a good one. Hopefully I get my webcam fixed, because this one, I'm not a fan of this guy. All right, everybody. Bye.